Hello, my name is Trydar. Today I'm going to be showing you how to build a geodesic dome in Minecraft. Let's get started. So a geodesic dome is a type of dome made entirely out of triangular segments, and the chief advantage of this dome is that it is structurally self-supporting, meaning that the forces of the dome are distributed within the fabric of the dome itself, and it looks a bit like a golf ball. But as you can see, all the facets of the dome are entirely made out of interlocking triangles, like we see done here. We have, of course, not only triangles, but they form patterns of pentagons and hexagons as well, depending on what angle you look at it from. Now, I'm presenting this as sort of a futuristic structure. This is being done in the same style that I have done my Subnautica series of builds in with the colored concrete and everything. So it's going to be an Altarian style, futuristic in a way. Let's go inside. Now, uses you can use for this dome would be perhaps if you had a alien planet biome and you want to have a nice little Earth-like section domed over on the inside for you to live in. Perhaps to farm your crops in or something like that. This would be a good use for that. Or perhaps if you need a pressure dome and for a ocean monument build, if you want to have sort of like a guardian farm down there in the middle or something, you can either put this on the surface of the ocean or down on the ocean floor. It's quite large enough to use just whatever you can think of that you want to put in here. Perhaps you need a very large research laboratory for something. Now, of course, it's going to have 4 entrances, as you see here. And we have some nice, interesting patterns being cast by the shaders on the floor. Of course, the floor is just plain, flat cyan terracotta, leaving that as a blank slate for you to fill in for yourself. It is going to be a rather large build. The dome itself is only going to have 1 line of symmetry. The base has 2 lines of symmetry. I will go over here and point this out. I haven't formed the dome along those lines, so I'm going to be showing you the whole build as we go. Because it doesn't have just a 1 block line of symmetry. It would have like a 2 block line, like right here. In the middle there, that would go along this side here around that line, and then through the glass along here for that. So you could mirror the dome in that way. I haven't done that with this because in order to make a geodesic dome of this size, I really had to resort to using a 3D model of a dome. And then I went through and I cleaned it up and I added the glass and everything, and made the base and everything from scratch. So you could have something nice to put it on. You don't have to use the base down here. It's just going to be a suggestion. If you want to use the dome itself, you can just skip to wherever that point in the tutorial is. But to get all the shapes right for this, I mean, it's fairly easy to make just a standard dome in Minecraft, but to get all of the tessellated triangles, I found it necessary to resort to importing a 3D model of that and then cleaning it up for that structure there. So that's how I made it anyway. Now, if you want to build one of these, let's take a look at the list of materials. So this is going to be a minimum list, by the way. It's going to be 15,626 blocks of cyan terracotta. By far the most, you will need 32,167 blocks of white concrete, 1,672 blocks of orange concrete, 3,505 blocks of yellow concrete. For the glass in the dome, you will need 11,610 blocks of light blue stained glass. Of course, if you want to change the glass color to another stained glass color, you are, of course, free to do so. For some details, we will need 96 light blue stained glass panes, 528 sea lanterns, 16 daylight sensors, and to fill the entire thing solid, you would need 130,462 blocks of cobblestone or some sort of filler material. But I don't expect that you will do that, especially down in the base here. like behind the white concrete and everything. I have here the concrete that I've listed. It's only for the blocks that are visible on the inside and the outside. For the filler material, as I've said, there's this vast sheet of cobblestone right here, which would account for a lot of it for filling in the base down there. But you can leave all this hollow. But I like to have my builds filled solid, so that is why I have done that. But as I've said, that's optional. I don't expect that any of you will collect that much cobblestone just to fill in for that. Here, let's talk about the dimensions. So the red wool here, the square of this that the building sits on is 166 by 166. So if you want to, you can do a 166 square, like you see done here, to just mark out everything. You probably want to count that number about 3 times to make sure you have it accurate. And it's just going to be the edges of the yellow concrete details that are going to be sitting on the ring of that, and then we will talk about the numbering for the base of everything later. And the total height of the structure from this point here all the way to the top of the dome is going to be 70 blocks. So that's the total number for that, for the dimensions. So wherever you're going to build this, you want to make sure you have that minimum amount of space available. And let's go here. We will start in the middle at the front and talk about some numbering or something. So as I've said, the center lines for this are going to be 2 blocks wide, meaning if you want to start your 2-block center perhaps out here somewhere, and then in front of that, how many blocks are in the back? There's going to be what? Let's count that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 blocks back from there, and then we will establish our center right here. And this is going to be roughly the point that I'm going to start with for all the next phases that we will go through. So then we want to lay down 4 blocks of yellow concrete, 3 of white, then of orange, and then cyan terracotta. And the total distance of this line is going to be what? 3, 4, 5, 10 for that. And then 3, 2, and 2, 2 again, 2, 2, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And now as we go, the block that you should be placing is already pre-placed, and I'm just pointing it out, giving you the counts of it with the half slabs here, but the block that you want to place is directly beneath the half slab. So for these 2 blocks here, and then this block, and then that one there, 4 blocks for that one. Right here, we do have a block of light blue stained glass. Right there. And then here we have 2 blocks of this. A sea lantern. Some more glass. Those are there and that. And all of this is going to be a straight copy of what we did over there. I think this should be, what, another 10 blocks, I think. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, it's 9 blocks. And then a 2-block line here. You want to just go in 2-block segments, moving over a block every time you do it. Right here for this. 1 block here at the diagonal. And I think that from this point here, if we traced out a diagonal line for several blocks, this should intersect with that point right there. So this is our 45-degree diagonal. And then from there, you just want to reverse the pattern with the 2 blocks with the cyan terracotta and the orange concrete. And then count for what? 9 blocks? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 2 there, 1, some glass there. These here for the concrete, some more glass there. All of that again here. Directly the same on the other side. And then here again for that. Back to 2 blocks here. I'll show you all this from the top down at the end. We just want to go slow over this so we can get everything down. And over here, this is going to be our other 2-block line of symmetry that we have over here. That is going to be the same details as what we have here at the front. Like this here. So I'm going to give you a top-down view with all the half slabs on top of everything so you can see the exact block counts that we have for this. We want to make sure that the block counts for this are accurate so we don't have any mistakes later on. And once you get to this point, you start reversing everything you just laid down to get the next quadrant section there, just like we did for the first one. I'll show you all this from the top down. Get a lot of altitude for that. There we go. So you can see that is going to be 1/4 of the base. So once you get over here, you want to reverse that and make another quarter, like you see done here. So let me just lower down on this so you can see that. Right here, all of this is another quarter. And then once you get to the pathway over here, you then reverse that again and make your 3rd quarter and then your 4th quarter for the entire base of the structure. It's quite a large base. And let me tell you how deep this is back here, by the way. So the corridor from the front here is going to be 1, 2, 3, 15 blocks deep. Back that way. All of the corridors are going to be the same. If when you're building this you want to have a different access or different corridors, do feel free to make a substitution in the design of the base, like I said, and we will move on to the next phase. So this phase over here, we're going to be going up 2 blocks taller than the first one that we made. So down here, here is the first level that we made, and we're going up 2 blocks more from that. And each subsequent phase for the base I'm going to show you, we just got a couple more. There's going to be taller than that, and then once we get to the dome, we will slow down and do only 1 layer at a time. So here, let me give you a view of the details for the corridor. You're just stacking up your cyan terracotta, moving it a block over, and doing the same thing again with the white concrete to make these details here for your corridor. Of course, when we have the sea lanterns, we want to make sure those are behind some light blue stained glass, like we have done here, which is some panes on the side there to add just a little bit of detail for that there. Of course, every corridor you make, all the other 3 corridors are going to be exactly the same as this one. So let me go along here. This is going to be a fairly simple phase. You can see we just have a little bit of detail for the yellow concrete here for the door and some lights. But for the orange concrete and the cyan terracotta on the outside, you're just stacking that straight up on top of the pattern that we counted out and laid down before. So you can see you're just stacking that up there. And then along here on the sides. We've only got 1 sea lantern back here though. But we do have them continuous in the middle there with the yellow concrete. And then turning the corner, you can see you're just stacking up for 2 more levels what you have done there. And then, of course, all these details are going to be the same for all of the other sections. So as we go, I'm just focusing in on about 1/8 of the base, but that is because it has those lines of symmetry in it. In other words, it has a line of symmetry that goes this way, one across that way. But with this design here, if you slice it up and do a diagonal line of symmetry this way and that way, then only 1/8 of the structure here is what you really need to know. And after you have done that once, you will quickly be able to go around and build up the rest of these sections for that. All right, so let's move on to the next phase. This one's going to take a little bit more time. So here, let's start at the doorway. And I'll show you this here. We just have a little bit of detail of the yellow concrete and the cyan terracotta on the top here. Our lights along the side. And if you want to go ahead and add in some actual stairs here for that, we don't have concrete stairs yet anyway for this, so I just put the full blocks there. But if you want to put perhaps some quartz stairs there, you can do that, so it would match and everything. So there are the details for that. Now, for this phase, I think we covered this one and this here. So I think, what? We're going to be looking at a 3-block section here. And the reason we're doing that is because it's fairly simple, but also it finishes off a lot of the base. So we can see here, we just have a simple design for the entranceway here for the door. If you want to, somewhere back here, you can install perhaps a more fancy redstone door with a key card or something if you want to keep people out of your base. But you want to, directly behind the blocks here, you want to set back the white concrete, and then for 2 blocks high behind the white concrete, you then want to let it stack up a band of cyan terracotta, like you see done here. We'll talk about what's behind that in a moment. Let's go along the exterior and take a look at this first. So you can see the concrete and the terracotta here. It's following the pattern that we laid down. We are just setting it back at 1-block increments when we add it up here. And of course, the yellow concrete is just going straight up at this phase here. You can see these are just set back by 1 block, but you're still following the 2-block slope of the line here. It's a little messy when we collide it in the center here. But that is 1/8 of the structure. So for the other, the next part of it, you want to arrange it like this here. Same patterns, you're just doing them in reverse order, like you see. And then that'll be 1/4, and you know what to do with the other 3/4. Let's go back and take a look now at the top down for the patterns we have on the top. So I think that some of these ought to be clear enough. Let's take a look at the outside edges, and then we'll work our way inside. So you can see here we have the top of the corridor that leads to the interior of the dome. Then we have some cobblestone filler behind that, some white concrete, and then some more cyan terracotta. I will go through and count out the interior ring of that in a moment. I think though that if I just show you the patterns here, I will show you them close in first, and then we'll take a more bird's eye view of that. So you can see, I think these patterns are small and simple enough that you don't need direct block counts for these. I think the concrete and the sea lanterns, the terracotta and the cobble, are all high contrast enough that you can just look at it and replicate the pattern. Of course, we have our 45-degree diagonal here in the middle, which means all of the rest of this is a mirror of what we just did over there. Like so. So I'll show you this entire pattern here at a glance. And let me raise up a bit so you can see an entire quadrant at a glance here, so you can get a good idea of what we need, what we need to do. All right, so let me lower down over this pattern here again. As we go, remember, just pause and replicate the block patterns that you see. If some of these patterns are too difficult, remember the world download will be available in the video description, as it always is. Now for the next part, I think I need to trace out some numbering for the dome here. We're going to start, I think we probably need to go all the way around. So we're going to start at the front here, again. And from this point here, we're going to start counting for 2, then 5, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 5, 2, 2, 1, and 2, and then we want to skip a couple of blocks here in the middle, and then count for 2, then 2 again to here, and then a long diagonal of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And then on the side here, what, for 2, 2, and 1. Then we need to skip a couple of blocks here. And then count for 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, and then what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then 1 block here. And this is going to be another one of our that double line of symmetry that I mentioned, the 2 block thick line from there. So that's going to be 1/4 of it. We need to go back to the front here though and trace out the other side, which is going to be not the same. So skipping 4 blocks there, we then want to count for 1, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 again. 5, 2, 2, 2, and 2, and then skip 1, and a couple of blocks there. 2, 2, 2 again, a long diagonal of 1, 2, 3. 14, 2, 2, and 2 there. Turn the corner, and well, no. Just 2 there, and then skip for those blocks there, and then count down 2, 2 again, a couple more 2s, 4, and then what, 1, 2, 3, 7, 5, and then 2, and then this here is going to be our other point of symmetry here. So to make the dome a little bit easier to build, I'm only going to cover half of it because we do have that double line of symmetry. So what we've done over here, you then want to mirror on the other side over there. And then here, for the rest of the tutorial, it was going to be too confusing if I left the dome on the inside here being glass. So from this point onwards, I have changed all of the light blue stained glass to these double slabs right here. Like these stone slabs that I've been placing. These are going to be the continuous double slabs. And I have done this that every time you see one of these, this is where you should place the light blue stained glass, the full blocks. And I think this is going to be the easiest and clearest way to show this to you, especially with the shaders that makes all the glass translucent. That we really had to have a better way to do that. So from this point onwards, every place you see the double slabs here, this is going to be where you place the glass. So let's continue with the base. We have to build the base for a little while, but we are also starting now to build the lowest most sections of the dome, like you see done here. So let's start back here at the entranceway. So every place on here on the surface where you left a gap back, let's go back over here and look at it for a moment. Where we left a gap at the base over here and we had only the cobble still showing, right here you see all this exposed cobble. We want to then place yellow concrete on top of all of those spaces like we see done here. But let me go back over here to this phase and show you that in more detail. So you can see here all of the exposed cobble is now covered with yellow concrete. And let me go also and show you a more completed example of this entranceway right here. All right, so we're going to start on the outside and look at all this detail, and then we'll look at the dome. I will give you block counts for the concrete and everything, so we can get that started in a moment. But here we can see we just have some simple lines, and then they start doing these diagonals, like you see done here, just with straight yellow concrete. Every place you have exposed cobble, or I assume you're probably not using the cobble, you're just building a hollow. So every place you have an air gap, you want to fill that in over with yellow concrete. And there appears to be a little bit missing, actually. Huh. Okay, right here also. That's missing for some reason. That should also be yellow concrete. Is it missing? Missing there. It's not missing here, though. Small mistake. But as you can see done here, we're just filling all that in with the yellow concrete. Just to add a little decoration and technical detail. It's not necessary for the dome, of course. This is just for decoration for the base. In here also, we have a bit of orange and white concrete. Right there, and here's, of course, our diagonal that is going through the structure here, which means that the rest of this is just the same as we did on the other side. So I will show all this to you here at a glance. And we do have just a couple of blocks of cyan terracotta here in the middle, of course, because here is where we are going to be placing these little lights right here. All right, so let me get some altitude on this so we can see the entire thing at a glance from the top down. There is, of course, 1/4 of it, and the other 3/4 are exactly the same. All right, now for the dome itself, I am going to go around and we need to trace out some things. Trace out the white concrete here in the middle. So we have our, we're going to start here at the front, but our center line runs over there. So we're going to keep starting here though. At the front here. And we want to count for 2. And then 5. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think actually this is probably, I think this is what I counted out for you before. Well, no, I counted out this part here. So what we're building is the ring behind that. Right here for 5, and then 2, 2, 1, 2, 1 there. We do have a couple of blocks to skip because they're not visible. 1 here, 2, 2, 2, and a long diagonal of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 14, 2, 2, and 1. And then we skip a couple of blocks here for 1, 2, 2, and 2 again. Another 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then 1 here, and this is going to be our next line of symmetry. Right here. So you want to mirror that there. We will go back to our middle here and start again for the next section. For 1, 2, 3, 4, well, 1 there, and then 3, 4, what, 6? 6 again. 5. 2, 2, 2, 2, 1, 1, 2, 2 again, a third 2, a long diagonal of 1, 2, 3. I believe that is 13. You want to look at that and double check me. Very occasionally I will be off by 1 in some measurements, completely by mistake. 2, 2, 2, 1, skip a block, 1, skip another block, 2, 2, 2 again, another 2, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 5, 2, and over here we hit our next line of symmetry. Of course, as I said, the 3D model I did, it's decidedly non-symmetrical, but I didn't go back and slice it in two to get the exact right shape for that. I think I probably need to go back and show you what's going to be the line here at the bottom for that. Well, I think it'd be better if we just went on to the next phase, actually. Because at this point onwards, we're only going to be going up at 1 block increments. So, let's start on the outside here. So we have some small details for antennas over the top of the dome there, just like all the Subnautica tech seems to have. Over here, we do have a couple of blocks that we are stacking up for these little lights on the outside. The yellow concrete over here for this section extends up another block above over here for that. And of course, this mistake over here, this also should be yellow concrete. The orange concrete, you're just stacking directly up here. Of course, here's our 45-degree line of symmetry, so everything over here is going to be the same again on this section, and then that will give you 1 quadrant. Most of the hard work on the base is done. I mean, for the base of the structure, not the whole base itself. But on the inside here for the dome, you can see we do have some cobblestone poking out here and there, and that is because those portions are not visible, meaning that that's going to be where the bottom sections of the beams that form the triangles and everything intersect with the dome. So here, let me go, let's start in the middle again, in the same place we have. Right here, and we will count out from here for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is going to be the interior count for the base of the interior of the dome itself. Then we want to count for 6. 6 again. 2, 3, 2, 2, 2 again. 1, 2, 2, 1. A diagonal, a long diagonal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 14, 2, 2 diagonal, 2, 2 again, a third 2, a fourth 2, 3, 3, 4, 6, and then what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that will get us to the middle, the 2 block wide center line we have running through our base here. And then let's go back over here and trace this one out. So we're going to start at the center here. Count for an additional 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then for 6. 6 again. 3, 2, 2, 2. Fourth 2, fifth 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, a long diagonal of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 11, 2, 2 diagonal, straight 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 4 and fifth 2s, 3, 6, probably 6 again, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that will bring us to the center line on the side over here. Just like that. So let me review this all again from the top down so you can see. We already traced out the line of the white concrete along the front, so you just want to extend that up for an additional block to match the inside. Just fill it all in solid with the white concrete. And you can put down some cobblestone in the middle here if you want to match the base for the details. Here is the front. And along the first side that we traced out, right here. It's quite a big dome. So it's going to take a little while to get all the foundational parts done. So, I mean, even if I zoom out and try and give you a view from this, I think that it's going to begin to get too large to be useful, but I will show it to you anyway. And we will go on to the next phase. So over here, let's start at the doorway. We have our little antennas that we're building up. Sides here, we have these little light posts we have there. Over here in the middle of these little decorative things here, you're going to have a little bit of cyan terracotta and glowstone sea lanterns, like you see done there. For both of those, that's about all there is to add for detail for the base. Now on the inside here, one of the reasons I changed all the glass to the slabs here is to save a lot of time, because what I need to do is now just show these to you in sequence and not go around and laboriously count them out. So we are going to start in the middle here, the same place we have been starting. We're going to do this for the whole tutorial, and I am going to show you this from the side here, also from the top and from the side. So you can see how all of these fit together. I think I will show you this from the side first, and then I will swing back along the top. It's going to be from the interior looking outwards. You want to use the block counts we have here for the slabs to help you get the block counts that we have for everything else. So we're going to be basing the dome off of that. A couple of sections here we're going to have be hollow there, like with all the cobble and everything here. Remember, you don't need to place this because those are going to be interior blocks that won't be visible. Simple diagonal section here. You already have the concrete ring below this to base everything off of. And I should say that at this point here, this is going to be where the going is going to get a little bit tough. Because I would consider this thing to be, this is not a beginner build. This is going to be an intermediate to advanced type of tutorial, mostly for how large the building is, but also for its complexity. And that is why everything I'm showing you here is going to be slowly done layer by layer. So here's our center line right here in the middle. So let's take a look at this from the outside so you can replicate these patterns here. Remember, we are now going at only one block at a time, so you want to focus in on this block level here. And I think between the cobble, the white concrete, and the slabs, everything is high contrast enough that you can be building this just visually off of what you're seeing. I tried to make it as simple as possible as I could, but it is somewhat challenging to do a tutorial for something like this. I've been putting it off for a while, actually, because of that. I do always try to deliver to you a tutorial that is actually useful, that you can build. So here we are at the center again, so we're going to look at the inside. here going around the arc for the second quadrant. Right here, I don't think that this will be any more difficult than the Pantheon tutorial I fairly recently did. If you were able to do that structure, then this should be somewhat easier, I think. I would rate this a lower difficulty from the Pantheon. But of course, remember where you see all the double slabs, that is going to be where you place the light blue stained glass, or whichever glass color you decided to use. Perhaps you want a nice red dome or something like that, or purple or green or whatever color is your favorite. Of course, blue is my favorite color, so that's one of the reasons I chose that. That and it really matches the color palette of the rest of the build. So let's go on to the next phase here. A little bit more for the antenna over the door. A little bit more and some light blue stained glass panes here for the details for the lights. And over here, this is the last little bit that we need to build for this. Just a ring of white concrete and then a sheet of glass. Right there in the middle. That's going to be all there is for that. So let's go back here to the middle again and take a look at the structures for the dome. We're going to take a look on the inside and go clockwise this way. As we go, you can of course see the previous phases that we have done below. So you can use these to help self-correct yourself as we go. To see that if you got one block here out of place. But indeed, that when you were doing that, I wouldn't worry too much about that. It's out of view now. But as I said, the dome itself it's the highest resolution that we can really get for a geodesic dome made entirely out of squares. So if you have a block that is one side or to the other, I really don't think that's going to matter actually. Because when you look at this from a distance, even if I myself came and inspected your dome, I very likely would not notice any flaws like that in there. So you don't have to worry about being super exact. Just get them close enough, you know, within a one block tolerance or so. Ought to be good enough. So we're taking a look at the outside now. And we're swinging back towards the front. And this is how we're going to go for the rest of the tutorial. We're going to swing back and forth. We'll take a look at the inside first. And then we will take a look at the outside. And from this point onwards, there's also not going to be a whole lot that I need to say. Because I think I have made everything that I can say quite clear already. So, unless there is something very important to remark on, I probably won't say a whole lot. The outside of the second quadrant. And we're back here at the front, so we will move on to the next phase. I don't think we're going to get the whole building done in a single video. Probably going to be a two-parter. But I do want to give you at least a lot of the initial start of the dome so you can get a good start on everything. Probably going to take you quite a while to gather all that concrete anyway. So here we are starting on the inside, going clockwise from the front. You can see we do have just a couple of blocks here now overhanging. And this is going to be the start of our dome, where it starts really curving. All right, here we are in the middle. And we're going to take a look at the outside now. Here we are at the front, so we're going to take a look at the second quadrant from the inside, counterclockwise. Now the outside. And here we are back at the front. All right, next phase. I think we can get hopefully a couple more phases done for this part. So here we have the antenna at the front. They're very slightly different heights right here. And here also we have the finished lights. Very simple design for the lights, and of course we finished that. So there's just going to be a couple of more blocks for the antennas for the top here, and then that is going to be the entire base will be done for the structure. So let's take a look again at the dome on the inside for the first quadrant going clockwise. All right, we're at the middle here, so that's our line of symmetry. So we want to turn around and reverse the pattern this way. Here we are back at the front. So let's take a look at the second quadrant from the inside. All right, second quadrant from the outside. And we're back here at the front. So we can go on to the next phase. So here we are at the front. Couple more blocks there. And we will start at the front on the inside for the first quadrant, going this way. All right, here we are in the middle. So we want to reverse and show the outside now. All right, inside of the second quadrant now. And here at the middle, so we'll show the outside. And here we are back at the front. Well, that's going to be all the time we have for today. I think it's probably going to take me another hour to fully show you and describe all of the succeeding phases of the dome all the way up to the top. But I hope you are enjoying the build so far, and I want to thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.